I don't know about you, but I haven't quite figured out exactly what technology means in my life. I've spent the past year thinking about what it really should be about. Should I be pro-technology? Should I embrace it full arms? Should I be wary? Like you, I'm very tempted by the latest thing. But on the other hand, a couple of years ago, I gave up all of my possessions, sold all my technology except for a bicycle, and rode across 3,000 miles on the US back roads under the power of my one body, fueled mostly by Twinkies and junk food. And I've since then tried to keep technology at arm's length in many ways so it doesn't master my life. At the same time, I run a website on Cool Tools where I issue a daily obsession of the latest things in technology. So I'm still perplexed about what the true meaning of technology is as it relates to humanity, as it relates to nature, as it relates to the spiritual. And I'm not even sure we know what technology is. And one definition of technology is that which is first recorded. This is the first example of the modern use of technology that I can find. It was a suggested syllabus for dealing with the applied arts and science in Cambridge University in 1829. Before that, obviously technology didn't exist, but obviously it did. I like one of the definitions that Alan Kay has for technology. He says, technology is anything that was invented after you were born. So it sums up a lot of what we're talking about. Danny Hillis actually has an update on that. He says, technology is anything that doesn't quite work yet, which also, I think, gets into a little bit of our current idea. But I was interested in another definition of technology, something, again, that went back to something more fundamental, something that was deeper. And as I struggled to understand that, I came up with a way of framing the question that seemed to work for me in my investigations. And I'm, this morning, going to talk about this for the first time. So this is a very rough attempt to think out loud. And the question that it came up with was this question: what does technology want? And by that I don't mean, does it want chocolate or vanilla? By what it wants, I mean, what are its inherent trends and biases? What are its tendencies over time? One way to think about this is thinking about biological organisms, which we heard a lot about, in the trick that Richard Dawkins does, which is to say, to look at them as simply as genes, as vehicles for genes. So he's saying, what do genes want, the selfish gene? And I'm applying a similar trick to say, what if we looked at the universe and our culture through the eyes of technology? What does technology want? Obviously, this is an incomplete question, just as looking at an organism as only a gene is an incomplete way of looking at it, but it's still very, very productive. So I'm attempting to say, if we take technology's view of the world, what does it want? And I think once we ask that question, we have to go back actually to life. Because obviously, if we keep extending the origins of technology far back, I think we come back to life at some point. So that's where I want to begin my little exploration is in life. And like you heard from the previous speakers, we don't really know what life there is on Earth right now. We have really no idea. Craig Venter's tremendous and brilliant attempt to DNA sequence things in the ocean is great. Brian Farrell's work is all part of this agenda to try and actually discover all the species on Earth. And one of the things that we should do is just make a grid of the globe and randomly go and inspect all the places that the grid intersects just to see what's on life. And if we did that with our little Martian probe, which we have not done on Earth, we would begin to see some incredible species. This is not on another planet. These are things that are hidden away on our planet. This is an ant that stores its colleagues' honey in its abdomen. Each one of these organisms that we've described, that you've seen from Jamie and others, these magnificent things, what they're doing, each one of them, is they're hacking the rules of life. I can't think of a single general principle of biology that is not have an exception somewhere by some organism. Every single thing that we can think of, and if you heard Olivia's talk about the sexual habits, you will realize that there isn't anything we can say that's true for all life, because every single one of them is hacking something about it. This is a solar-powered sea slug. It's a nudibranch that has incorporated in chloroplasts inside it to drive its energy. This is another version of that. This is a sea dragon, and the one on the bottom is the blue one is the juvenile that has not yet swallowed the acid, has not yet taken in the brown-green algae pond scum into its body to give it energy. These are hacks. And if we looked at the general shape of the approaches to hacking life, there are current consensus 6 kingdoms, 6 different broad approaches: the plants, the animals, the fungi, the protists, the little things, the bacteria, and the archaebacteria, the arches. Those are the general approaches to life. That's one way to look at life on Earth today. But a more interesting way, the current way to take the long view, is to look at it in an evolutionary perspective. And here we have a view of evolution where, rather than having evolution go over the linear time, we have it coming out from the center. So in the center is the most primitive, and this is a genealogical chart of all life on Earth. This is all the same 6 kingdoms you see, 4,000 representative species. You can see where we are. But what I like about this is it shows that every living organism on Earth today is equally evolved. Those fungi and bacteria are as highly evolved as humans. They've been around just as long, they've gone through just the same kind of trial and error to get here. But we see that each one of these is actually hacking and has a different way of finding out how to do life. And if we take the long-term trends of